So we've just got back from Namibia, and we thought we'd share a few thoughts, costs, other bits and pieces.
Yeah, so we had an amazing time. It was absolutely fantastic.
That spoils our final thoughts, but yeah,
Oh,
okay.
sorry. Yeah, okay, so what did we do? So basically we spent no more than 2 nights in any one place. So we started off, we drove north from Windhoek towards Etosha National Park, which is in the north of the country.
Before that, we flew from Heathrow to Joburg,
Yeah,
and then Joburg to Windhoek.
yeah.
We could have got to Windhoek alternative ways. We met a couple who did,
They flew to Addis and then to Windhoek, didn't they?
or we could have flown through Germany because Namibia used to be a German colony.
So we could have flown to Frankfurt and then Frankfurt direct to Windhoek,
But yeah, for what we wanted, yeah, the way we went was fine.
yeah, it was. And on the way out, it was relatively comfy, wasn't it? Because it wasn't a full flight. On the way back, it was, sadly, and that was not
Yes.
quite so comfy.
So I think everything goes via Windhoek. Windhoek is really the only international airport of
Yes.
note in Namibia.
Yeah, I think it is. So we flew into Windhoek,
Sorry. Yeah.
and then we drove north to Etosha, and we spent one night en route at Ombo Rest Camp, which was perfectly fine, wasn't it?
It
Very
was.
friendly, helpful ladies there.
By the time we actually got in, the flight got in and we picked up our hire car, we were a bit wanting just to stop somewhere, weren't we?
Well, also, the thing was, it took us more than 2 hours to pick up the hire car. There was not another single soul there either. I don't know what, we were just basically, we weren't even with the man most of the time. We were just
No.
sitting around waiting.
The car wasn't ready.
The car wasn't, which is just ridiculous, isn't it? The only
Yeah.
car going out today, and it wasn't ready. Anyway, that was by the by.
Indeed.
So when we finally picked it up, we then had to do some shopping as well, didn't we? We had to go through the traffic in Windhoek because it was about 4:30 by that stage as well,
Yep.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the first 2 places we tried to camp, we couldn't for various reasons either. So that was the first place, Ombo Rest Camp. Very nice, very helpful lady. Quite nice facilities. The only thing was there were no locks on the loo doors, were there? But it
No.
wasn't really a problem. So.
No, that was fine.
And from there we then drove north through very heavy rain, actually,
Yep.
to Etosha. And we booked 6 nights in Etosha. We'd booked 2 nights at Namatoni, 2 nights at Okakwejo, and 2 nights at Olifantstros. And I'm very glad we had booked.
Yes.
Namatoni was certainly full on the first night we were there.
Yeah. When we tried to book the dates that we tried to book for, we couldn't get in.
No, we tried to book for the second week of the holiday rather than the first week of the holiday.
We
didn't
did, and actually go around the other way, but
Yeah. But it
these
was
things
fine.
happen. Yep.
So we then spent 7 days in Etosha National Park, which was fantastic, wasn't it?
It was.
We saw lots of lovely things that you've probably seen on our previous videos. We saw rhinos, we saw elephants, we saw lions, so many different giraffes, zebra, gazelles,
Yep.
antelopes of various types, birds. It was lovely. It was just a really, really nice thing to do, wasn't it?
It was. Yes.
And then we left there and we drove west out towards the Skeleton Coast and we went to a place called Abahwab, which was where the desert elephants are. But sadly we didn't see any desert
We
elephants.
didn't see any. No.
But the campsite was fantastic. Had a brilliant outdoor shower.
Yeah,
didn't
I
it?
loved that campsite. I really did. That was probably my favourite campsite of the holiday.
And we were pitched right by the river as well, at the dried up
We were.
riverbed, weren't we? Yeah, beautiful place to be. Really nice. And from there we then drove to Spitzkoppe, which was south. And that was fantastic, with just amazing scenery at Spitzkoppe. Fantastic, enormous pitches. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful place to be.
It was. It's stunning,
yeah.
amazing place.
And from there we only drove a couple of hours. And we went to a place called Altabrücke, which was in Swakopmund. On the way we had to get a new tyre, didn't we?
We did, having had a puncture in Etosha.
I had a puncture in Etosha, so we had to get a new tyre.
But
that
again,
was very easy.
it was
wasn't
very painless. Yes.
Yeah, very efficient, done. We got a brand new tyre, didn't we? We didn't have to pay a penny for it, so
No.
that was good. And then from Altabrücke, we then wanted to go to Sussersvlei, where the dunes are, and we couldn't actually get into any of the campsites in the national park, which was probably just as well because they were charging 670 Namibian dollars per person per night, whereas we paid 400 Namibian dollars for the
Yes.
2 of us.
Yep.
We were 45 minutes outside the gate, but we were still at the gate waiting for it to open the next
Yeah,
morning,
we
weren't
were.
we?
Yes.
So it really wasn't a problem at all.
Yeah.
And the campsite was a fantastic place, wasn't it?
We were the only ones in there second night.
Yeah, we were.
First night, we were the only ones in there till about 9 o'clock when other people unrelated, turned up. And yeah, so that was lovely, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was
He was a very
fantastic.
friendly guy.
He was a really nice guy, yeah. And he's a local businessman. He's trying to make a living from doing a campsite.
He is. Yep.
And from there, we then drove to Hardap Dam, which was another Namibian wildlife resorts place, which was a bit disappointing, wasn't it? Because they had a game park, in theory.
Yeah, we didn't actually see. Oh no, we saw a giraffe, didn't we?
We saw one giraffe, that was it, in the game park. And we only had about an hour in there, didn't we? Because we didn't know it shut at 4.
No,
We assumed it shut at 6, like all the other ones do, but no, that one shut at 4 o'clock. So,
Yeah.
but it was fine.
it was.
And from there, we then drove to just outside Windhoek to the Trans-Kalahari Inn, where we stayed on the last night, which was very nice, wasn't it?
It was lovely. Yes.
Fantastic food they had there. Had a swimming pool there as well if you wanted it. Nice bar. Yeah, it was very civilised, and we met lots of other Brits there as well, didn't we?
We did.
Mostly Land Rover owning Brits, which is
yes.
always good as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was where we stayed on our 14 nights, and it was fantastic. Lots of different scenery.
Yeah, amazingly different scenery, actually,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
So from the coast to the desert, to Etosha, yeah,
yeah, and they'd had a lot of rain in Namibia, so when we got there, it was much greener than we were expecting.
yes,
It did make seeing animals in Etosha fairly tricky, but actually, it's just part of the fun, wasn't it? Really?
it was, yeah, very much so. So how much did we spend?
Oh, lots and lots, I'm sure.
So if we start with the camping, which we've just been talking about, as we say, we spent 12 nights camping. The ones in Etosha National Park we prepaid for, but including that, we spent a total of £390 on camping, which the Etosha ones were by far and away the most expensive,
Yeah.
weren't they?
Yeah.
The others were a lot cheaper.
For 14 nights, I don't think that's too bad,
No,
actually.
no. Shopping. We spent £148 on shopping, which again for 14 nights, £10 a night.
Yeah, I don't think that's too bad either. And that included every single little thing that we bought.
It did. It did. And Jill, obviously being slightly odd,
Thank you, darling.
that's okay, basically having to have gluten and lacto-free food, we weren't sure how that was going to go. But we actually found Spa mainly, didn't we? Spa was very good.
Yeah, they had lacto-free milk, didn't they? Which
They
was good.
did. And we managed to get some peanut butter and some
Rice cakes.
rice cakes.
Which was
And
what we had for lunch nearly every day, wasn't it? That was fine.
but yeah,
no, it was not a problem, was it really?
it wasn't. No, Spa was obviously the main place we went to.
Yeah.
We went to some smaller local shops as well, but
Yeah.
there were spas everywhere.
There were, yeah. And the main other expense that we had was diesel. When we got out there, it was £192 for diesel. But actually, considering the miles that we did,
Yes.
I don't think that was too bad at all.
No, I don't either.
It was about 90p a litre, wasn't it,
It
over
was.
there?
It was. And I kept complaining to Jill that every time you went to a petrol station or even a shopping centre or anything like that, there were people there who wanted tips.
So basically, the man who did the petrol needed a tip, and then somebody would clean your windscreen, and they needed a tip.
Yeah.
And when you went to a shopping centre, there was a car guard in lots of them as well, wasn't there? And he needed a tip.
Yeah, so I kept complaining to Jill about all these tips we were giving out. Got home, calculated how much tips we'd given out, £4.16. So, yeah.
I don't think you can really complain about that.
We ate out on 3 occasions.
We did, yeah, fantastic food.
Being Southern Africa, they do like steak.
Yeah, everywhere does steak, doesn't
Everywhere does steak, and really good steak as well,
Yeah.
for a reasonable amount of money as well. So, as I say, we ate out 3 times, including drinks and everything else. We spent a total of £87.
it? Can't really, yeah, you can't argue with that.
I had steak every time. You had steak twice, and then the third time you actually tried the local.
I did. I had
delicacies.
I can't remember what it was.
Kudu?
I had kudu, springbok, and hearty beast. I think
Yes.
it was. Yeah, very tasty.
Yeah.
So that was £87. We then spent £16 on firewood, which was fine.
Which was necessary because
Yeah.
as our gas ran out,
Yeah, that was really annoying.
which was very annoying. Gas ran out with 3 days to go.
No, it was 5 days to go
Okay.
because it ran out when we were in Neuhof, didn't it?
Yeah. So yes, that was very annoying. And Jill was looking forward to her cup of tea every day.
Yeah.
Couldn't have it.
No. And actually, when we got back and we told them, he was like, well, whatever. He
Yeah.
wasn't bothered at all, was he?
He wasn't. So if you do this trip, one tip: make sure your gas bottle is full, because
Yeah.
ours certainly
No,
wasn't.
it wasn't. Definitely not. Well, we've got a similar sized gas bottle in our camper van and it's lasted us more than a year.
Yeah.
So, we know that it's not us being excessive with the gas.
No.
So national park fees were £113. So that was to get into Etosha for 6 nights. That was to get into Sussersvlei for a day and also Hardap Dam,
Yes.
which again isn't too... I mean, you have to pay more because you're not in the South African economic area, which is
Yep.
fine. But I don't think that's too bad at all. Compared to like Canada and things like that, it's
Oh,
very
yeah.
reasonable,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yeah. So our flights, as we've already mentioned, we flew from Heathrow to Joburg to Windhoek, British Airways economy class, and that was £950 for the two of us. Which again, could be worse.
Yeah, I don't think that's too bad at all. And when we got to Namibia, literally the month before we arrived, they'd introduced a new visa thing. So for the first time ever, we'd had to pay for visas for Namibia, and that was £62 each.
Yeah.
So that was kind of annoying, but it was okay. We knew about it before we arrived, and they were very efficient, weren't they? The visa ladies.
They were indeed.
And we also decided when we got out there that we would, as well as buying a visa at the airport, we would also get a SIM card, and that was £26 for two of us to have a SIM card for the month.
And it was very efficient at the airport. We went to MTC, and within 5 minutes we got a SIM card for a month's usage, 25 gig of data, and as you say, £13 each. So
and
£26
she sorted it all out for us, didn't she? So
yeah. And our final expense was the car hire, which was £1,256. We went with Brits. As we say, they weren't ready when we got there.
So we waited 2 hours when we got there. There was no gas by the end of the holiday either.
No.
And things like the table and the tent the tent had clips on both sides and it didn't have a clip one side. I mean, we're pretty good at doing roof tents, but if you weren't,
yes,
I think it could have been a bit of an issue, really. I wouldn't necessarily recommend them. There are lots of other car hire companies out there. I think we chose them because they were the cheapest. And actually, we can probably see why they were the cheapest, can't we, really? It didn't spoil our holiday, but
no.
I think if you maybe weren't as experienced, it might have done. So in total, we spent £3,315, which on a long-haul holiday for a fortnight, absolutely everything all included, I don't think it's too bad at all.
No. And seeing animals close up and everything else.
You can't beat that as an experience,
no, you can't.
can you?
And compared with most safaris, that is an absolute bargain,
it's
including flights.
It's a steal, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. So what was good was seeing the animals.
Yep.
The scenery
was
amazing. Just driving on these absolutely deserted roads as well for miles and miles. It was lovely.
Yeah. The company was excellent.
Oh, naturally, as it was. I mean, we loved it. We love camping, and it's just really nice to be out there and just be. And the stars were amazing, weren't they?
They were. So we went middle to end of May.
Yeah.
And the weather was just. It rained the first day, as we've already mentioned, rained really hard driving along. But other than that, we didn't really have any rain.
No.
It was kind of 28, 30 degrees, but you didn't know it.
No.
It didn't feel hot.
Some nights it was quite cold. So the very first night we woke up and there was moisture all over the tent, wasn't there,
Yes,
the next
there was,
morning? And there was a couple of nights where it was quite cold. One night I had to put my long trousers on and my jacket.
Yeah.
But actually, it was generally shorts and T-shirt, weather, the occasional fleece, wasn't it, in the mornings generally?
Yes.
But that was it. So not at all cold. It was a good time of year to go, I would say.
Yes. Yeah.
And what wasn't so good? I mean, we talked about this, didn't we? And I think it wouldn't be so good if you didn't like driving.
No.
Because it was quite a long way to drive, wasn't it, in different...
It was, yes. Very often it would be 4 or 5 hours between campsites.
On non-tarred roads as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So a lot of the roads had big corrugations on them. They're all dirt roads.
Which for us was great.
I was going to say, we love that, so it's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
I didn't love it at the time with the corrugations generally.
No,
it was a bit annoying, but
Not the corrugations, but the
dirt roads are not a problem, are they?
One thing you've got to be prepared of, if you do go on a holiday like this, you're not going to be clean.
No, not at all.
Dust everywhere,
absolutely
everywhere. So, despite the fact that the back of the car was actually sealed in, if you like, all the bags were dusty, everything was very dusty.
Yeah.
We were exceptionally dusty. We've come to the conclusion on holidays that we've done like this before, so when we did our holiday like this 10 years ago, that I can withstand a lot more dirt than Jill can.
We're not surprised about that, really, but Roger is much more at home with dirt than I am, I think it's fair to say.
I don't mind it too much. You don't really like it, but
I don't mind. It just after 3 or 4 days, I just think I just want something clean. I mean, when we went to Altabrucco, it was just nice to get out of the shower and not have to think, I'm going to get dirt all over my feet the minute I step out of here, for example.
That's the other thing, talking about showers and things. All the campsites had really good showers and everything else.
Yeah.
So the showers are good, obviously showering every day, but as Jill said, you kind of step out the shower and there's dust everywhere.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things you've got to be prepared for.
Yeah. I mean, when we went to Abahuab, it was a cold shower, wasn't it?
Yes.
But actually that was fine. It was quite hot out there. We didn't really mind, did we?
No, not at all.
So yeah, I don't think you'd enjoy it if you didn't like dirt, if you didn't like driving.
No. Didn't like camping.
Didn't like camping, yes.
But you would love it if you like animals,
Yeah.
which we do, and you're prepared to sit around and wait for something to happen.
Well, also, if you've got a bit of an adventurous side as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we never liked going on safaris where people are always trying to get onto the next thing all the time. We're quite happy just to sit there, aren't we?
We are.
So we did that at a waterhole, didn't we? And it was fantastic when the elephants came along after about an hour. We'd been sitting there and they just
Yeah.
came up for a drink, didn't they?
Yeah.
And suddenly all these people arrived, but we were just thinking, well, we've been here for ages.
Yeah.
So we had a great spot for that, didn't we?
We did. So, would we do it again?
Yeah, I would definitely.
Yes.
I mean, there's so many other places in the world we'd like to go to.
Yes.
If somebody said to me, do you want to go to Namibia next week and it's free, I'd say definitely. Well, no, you know what I mean. It's that kind of thing, isn't it, really?
And as we say, compared with other safaris that you
Yes.
can do. So if you've never been on a safari before, it might not be for you because we are obviously expert trackers.
Naturally.
So we can actually find things. Yeah, right. But, we know what to expect. I don't know if you've never been on safari before and you're driving yourself. I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, it depends, doesn't it? I'm not sure that going at that time of year would be a good thing because it's not that easy to see the animals.
No,
And you
it's
wouldn't
not.
know what you were seeing either.
No.
But then all of the camps in
Etosha.
Etosha did do drives that you could join, didn't
They
they?
did. Yes,
So,
they
you
did
know,
indeed.
you could go camping and then go for a night drive with them or whatever, couldn't you?
Yeah. Or a day drive.
Or a day
for that
drive,
matter.
yeah.
For that matter,
So
it
you
might
did-
be something you kind of did on the first day
Yeah.
just to find out
Get a
what
bit of a
goes
feel
on.
for it, yeah.
But yeah, we, as you could probably tell from the last 2 or 3 videos, we absolutely loved it, didn't
Yeah, we did, definitely. And yeah, I'd love to go back and do it again at some point. And the people were so lovely, weren't they?
we? Everybody we met, we didn't meet anybody who wasn't friendly.
No, we didn't.
Whatever we were doing, whether it was in the campsites, whether it was in shops, whether it's just driving along, people would wave at you
Yep.
and be genuinely friendly.
Yeah.
People said before we went, aren't you scared? Of 2 things. One of the animals, which no, basically we were in the car the whole time. Animals view a car as a complete unit and therefore think it's bigger than
Yeah.
they are and aren't bothered by you sitting there,
Watching them or doing anything.
no, at all. And B, by the people or anything. We didn't feel threatened once. As I
No,
say,
not at all.
everybody was just so friendly.
Yeah. And we always find as well, if you smile, say hello, how are you doing, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
People just instantly relax, don't they?
They
and they
do.
just, it's just so much nicer than just rushing in with whatever you want to find out.
Yeah.
So you go into a shop, you say hello, how are you, and she says hello, how are you, and then you have a little conversation
Yeah.
before you buy your whatever it is you're buying.
And whether, as I say, whether in restaurants, whatever, everybody
Yeah.
was just so friendly
they were.
and couldn't do enough for you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we would thoroughly recommend it.
We would do indeed. We would.